Hello, everyone. This is Jay Bradley with the Joy, Love, and Healing Podcast. This is episode number 1, and I'm so excited to be here talking with a very dear friend who I will tell you all about in a minute. But she's spectacular, and you know, it's interesting. I thought about this today as I was listening to the parakeets over my fence. All these different noises in the morning, and the sound that they were making was pretty incredible. And I started to just kind of go into this meditation state, and I thought, okay, this is perfect, because today we're going to talk about the power of sound healing. And I am with my dear friend. I call her Bella Rivera. She's also Isabella Rivera. And it's going to read a little bit about Bella's background, and we'll get chatting. So Isabella is a yoga and meditation teacher and sound bath practitioner based in Los Angeles. She creates experiences for individuals to connect to themselves and one another through movement and sound. She deeply believes in the power of yoga and meditation to cultivate a deep connection with the mind, body, and soul. She leans on 15 years of experience in K-12 public education as a teacher and school administrator to ensure a safe space for individuals from all walks of life to explore the space within. Okay, I love that, the space within, because that's what this show is all about.
Yes.
Hello, Bella.
Hi, love. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here to kick off this, what I know is going to be an incredible space for you to share healing and everything that means. So just thanks for having me. Love to be here.
Of course. Well, for those who don't know, Bella and I lived, we were neighbors in Hollywood.
Yes.
With her husband, Paul.
Yes.
And we just got to know each other so well and have done events together, sharing breathwork and sound, and planning some future retreats together.
So
but
exciting.
You know, I realized that as I've taken part in many sound baths, I don't really know the science. I don't really understand fully how breath can help us to heal. So I want to dig in, and I want to share with others, you know, why sound is so important and how it might help them. So
yeah, well,
is there anything you want to
we've done so many events together, and I do really believe in the space that we hold together. And you have so much knowledge of breath, and I get to bring in all the beauty of sound. And so I'll just kind of share a little bit about my journey as well, kind of how I found sound, because the impact that sound has on the body is what I've felt myself, and why I feel like it's such a powerful tool for people to ultimately come into balance and find that allowing the body to just do the natural healing that it can do on its own. So kind of the idea of a sound bath is you completely get immersed in sound, and then you can find that deeply meditative space within the body. And many years ago, as a teacher and former school administrator, I had lots of stress and had long work days and lots of things to do. And the only time that I'd really find that like true connection to myself was on my yoga mat, and that final resting pose, Shavasana, where you're completely kind of laying there, letting all of the energy and feeling of the movement practice settle. And then sometimes teachers would bring in bowls and other instruments, and I'm like, wow, I'm so relaxed, and I don't really understand why. So the more that I enjoyed sound baths and understood them, I then learned the science behind it. And kind of to that point of stress, we have tons of stress in our lives. Our bodies are actually constantly in this flight, or the state of fight or flight. And so when we're always like that, our bodies are focused on the stress and navigating, am I going to come into this situation ready to fight the bear, or am I going to run away from this situation? And there's lots of ways that we can all see that and present in our lives. But when we get out of that state and actually give ourselves these moments of meditation and meditative rest, we can then allow our bodies to come back into balance. And so the human body is absolutely incredible and amazing, does amazing things. The systems that are in it, the energy systems, what I definitely want to talk about later in our chat, they're incredible to really ultimately bring the body back into balance on its own. But we don't give ourselves the time to do that when we're always stressed. So meditation, sound baths specifically, can give you that time to almost downshift into that meditative space to then do the natural healing that the body can do.
Got it. And I mean, I think people love sound baths so much because I'll call it passive, right? It's a chance for us to come and lie down or sit if you want and just listen to sound. Whereas, as you know, breath work, what I share is very sort of active. It's a bit of a workout.
It's amazing.
So I guess that's why the combo is so amazing. But so I know the body is like largely water. And I've heard, and I would just love to ask you, like, does this sound actually affect the water and the cells in our body.
Yes, 100%. So our bodies are made of anywhere from 60 to 70% water. And if you actually take like a bowl or any kind of body of water and you see, when it's raining or when you have some kind of movement, you see the ripple effect across the body of water. And that is because everything in our world is vibration. So sound is a form of vibration, light is a form of vibration, and some of those things we can actually feel, and sound is one of them. So you can feel the vibrations, feel the sound actually come into your body, and it kind of gives you this impact of like cellular massage. So that water in your body kind of moves and it can vibrate your body on a really beautiful cellular level. And what that helps to do is kind of get rid of the energy that's in your body that might be stuck or needs to move elsewhere and kind of help you in other ways. It also can help, there's so much science that's been coming up in the last 5 to 10 years, even 15 years back, about sound helping to cure cancer and actually get rid of cancer cells. And I'm not well versed in that, so I won't chat about it, but it's fascinating. There are studies about it and more that we're learning about it. But yes, it's really about this idea of the vibration coming into your body and cleaning, cleansing you out.
Yeah, like a detox, a gentle detox. Mm-hmm. That's why, I wanted to do this podcast because to me, I've done all the external work, right? And so many of us exercise, diet, and that's all important. Taking care of our physical bodies. But yeah, I truly believe that everything is an inside job. We have to start inside and work our way out. And that's why I'm fascinated by how sound can affect the literal cells. And I'm sort of big on chakras.
Yeah.
And I know that there are different, when you use your crystal bowls, there's different bowls for each chakra.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes. So for those of you that maybe aren't familiar with the chakras, they're the way that our bodies organize energy. So just like energy's out in the world, trees, grass, air has energy, everywhere is energy. Within our bodies, it's the same way. And and Jay, you can definitely chime in for this, but we kind of look there to be 7 main ones, and there's definitely more than that. There's chakras all through the body, but the 7 main ones, they kind of run from the base of the spine all the way up to the crown of the head. And coincidentally, beautifully, because this is how the world works and the universe works, there are 7 whole notes as well. And so each of those can correlate to one of those main energy centers and kind of work up the body like that.
Interesting. So do you have all 7 bowls?
Yes, I do. So I have 2 bowl sets. I have one that are all whole notes. The biggest bowl, the largest bowl is what you call a base of the bowl set, and that's a C, and that's correlated with your root chakra. It's all around foundation, security, grounding, connection to the earth. And then it works all the way up. So as the bowls get smaller and a little higher, they go up the chakras up to B, which is the crown.
I love that.
And then the other set I have is an alchemy set, and those are actually the half notes, so sharps, and those are working to activate the endocrine system, which is responsible for releasing hormones and kind of regulating the body on a deep level as well.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, you have a lot of bowls. I've seen your bowls. You've invested a lot of money in those bowls, too.
Yes, and there's a purpose and intention for all of them. I'm leading a sound training actually next month, and I'm doing a lot of work into helping people understand how to, because there is a purpose and intention for each bowl, but also a science about how to make them tune and sound good together that unfortunately I didn't learn in my training that I did. So I'm helping people to learn that. There's a lot of work that you can do holistically for the body with sound.
I don't, I remember my first sound bath, I had been dealing with a neck that was kind of feeling stuck, I guess. It had recurring stiff neck. And then I remember leaving the sound bath and I was driving home and I was just like, oh my God,
yes.
my neck is better.
Yes.
So again, I guess we don't always even need to understand what happens. Maybe it's just that beautiful deep state of relaxation along with the combination of sound that helps our body to, like you said, get an internal massage.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, and really, the kind of scientific word is homeostasis, and this is a process that animals, plants go through. It's all around coming back into balance. And so, I said, our bodies can do that, process of healing on its own. And the thing is just we oftentimes our bodies are pulled away from that because we're always stressed, and so we're focused on the to-do list, focused on this thing, this relationship that maybe isn't going the way that we want it to, and now we're focused on that instead of just finding that meditation and that connection to the self that can then give the body time to heal. There's also this incredible process that happens with the brain waves in the body. And there we have 4 kind of major brain waves. And when we're in a constant kind of state of active, like we're doing now, we're talking, we're active, we're working, that's your alpha state. And you're very active thinking, and you're very, kind of in with your thoughts. When you're in a meditation experience, you can actually downshift into another brain state, which is that meditative, like theta state, which I'm sure that you're familiar with. So that's important too to know, because there are some impact on the brain when we have these sound experiences and meditation experiences.
Yeah, and it's really hard to get there with just meditation for so many of us.
Absolutely.
That's why I do breath work, because it was really hard for me to just sit and meditate and get to that state. Sound baths are great because the sound does something within a matter of a really short period of time.
Yeah.
You find yourself either in some sort of altered reality or snoring on the mat. What do you do when people fall asleep? Do you wake them up?
It's funny because there's actually a whole dialogue within like the sound healer community about this, and it's I always say this when I open up a sound bath. You just be open to whatever you need in this process, and it will, as long as you're open, you'll get that. If you need focus and clarity and something, you'll get that. If you need rest, you'll get that. If you need the sleep, you get that. So kind of the dialogue is, do you let people just have the experience that is uniquely theirs, knowing that if that means that they're snoring, that's going to impact someone else's experience within the space.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I've only had a couple of experiences where it's been like dramatically impacting the space. Actually happened just about a week ago, and this girl was having a really great sleep and snoring, and she was like, doing the like coughing snoring thing.
Oh God.
And I took some instruments and was trying to like gently bring her back into being a little bit more present in the moment and not just sleeping. But ultimately, I believe that people come in needing what they need, and as long as they're open to that, they're going to be able to achieve that in a sound bath.
You know what I do when that happens with breath work?
What do you do, Jay?
I throw little pebbles at them, just gently, to see if I can wake them.
Oh my gosh. I always think metaphorically or like energetically, or I'm like, okay, like let me tickle their feet from afar. Like, can you wake up a little bit?
Yeah. Exactly.
Funny.
So this podcast is really about people who have tried so many different modalities to, I use the word healing, which is, I know, a really strong word.
Yes.
But people what I mean by healing is anyone who's struggling with anything, who's not feeling fulfilled, happy, joyful, and not connected with love.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them if, they've tried so many different things, maybe traditional therapy, maybe different modalities, and they haven't found sound? Like, I guess I'm curious as to how you would describe like what they'll get from this if they were to commit to this practice on a regular basis.
Yeah. I love this question because when I think about my own journey of how I found sound baths, I was at a music festival. My friends pulled me in to this kind of dirty tent, and they were like, come here, we're going to do a sound bath. And I was like, I don't even know what this is. There was instruments everywhere and people kind of circling around, and all I knew is that there was a buzz and an energy. Everyone was really excited to get there and lay down on the dirty ground. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go with it. I put on this eye mask, and it was transporting me to this place that I really had trouble getting there because meditation was so difficult for me. Even in my yoga teacher training, it was like, okay, go home and meditate. That was your homework. And I'd sit down. I tried like the candle thing where you focus on the flame as you like try to be more present. I tried all these things, and it was so hard for me just to quiet my mind. So when you're in a sound bath, you have that sound to follow that can then help you to dive into that meditative space within the body. So when people do it for the first time, there's still a lot of like analyzing and trying to like, oh, do I hear the sound? Do I like this note? I'm feeling this note in my body, like what's going on. So a lot of that is happening. And it actually takes your body about 15, 20 minutes to get into a meditative state. So by the time you have like a 45-minute or 60-minute sound bath, you're able to get into that meditative state. And then I always say, once you do it more, you're able to get there quicker. And then you can go deeper and deeper.
Kind of rewire or retrain
exactly.
your body, your mind, and your spirit to just stay at that place for a longer period, probably.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, actually. Some people have said, "Ooh, I didn't like that note," or "That was really uncomfortable for me to listen to." Is that normal? And like, is that a good sign, or is that what does that mean?
It's so. There's so many things, because like I personally like the deeper tones because I like the feeling that I get with them. I gravitate more to the lower chakras, so your C, your D, and your E as notes. But some people, they are more kind of cerebral, so to speak, and they're more connected to the universe, and so they might actually connect more with the higher notes, the A for third eye and B for crown. So it's, there's kind of preference, and then there's also associations with sound. The way that I play my sound baths, I actually bring some music theory in and bring some happy major chords in and some like perfect fifth chords in. So you're getting these chords and sounds that really just harmoniously make you feel happy and good. And then I also play some minor chords, which have kind of a traditional, more sad sounding. But I think, and you're thinking about like a whole journey of sound, life is not just happy and beautiful and harmonious. You have other things that really kind of tie in to kind of partner together to ultimately give you a life experience. So it's preference, it's science, it's a music theory. The notes also can be higher octaves, which sometimes people don't like. I personally don't like the octaves that are really high. So some preference and science.
You create a beautiful journey, though. Seriously,
Thank you, Jay.
You can tell that you put a lot of thought, but you also kind of, I think, you're very in the moment.
Yes, very much.
And you allow the sound to guide you, and the groups to guide you, and you kind of, I feel like you're really in tune with what people need.
Yes.
So tell us, what other instruments do you bring into a sound bath? For those who don't know.
Definitely. So, the sound baths, I like to say every single one is unique. It's so dependent on the instruments that are there, the space, the facilitator, and then the people, the energy they bring in as well. So each sound bath, even if it's in the same space, same facilitator, same instruments, it's going to be different based on the energy of the space and people that are coming. But typically, when you have a sound bath, you have some kind of bowls or some kind of overtone emitting instruments is the technical term for it. But crystal singing bowls are kind of ones that you see a lot. And you have a couple different kinds. You have some quartz ones, which are big white ones, and they're made out of quartz, which is a crystal that's associated with clearing and cleansing. They're aesthetically beautiful, these big white things, and they just, I think because my association, I look at them like, oh, they're so pretty, and they make these beautiful sounds. So you have those. You also have other bowls that are made out of different elements and gemstones and minerals. I have a few of those. Those are called alchemy bowls, and they have quartz, and then they're infused with other minerals like ruby or emerald or citrine. And the idea of those is you're bringing all those natural properties that, like, citrine represents abundance and happiness, and you're bringing that in to then kind of send that frequency out through the sound as well. So
I love that.
Yeah, you have those, and then you have metal bowls, which are made out of brass or various like mixtures of metals. We have the gongs, which are such a journey, it's like so much in the gong that I just recently did some work with a gong master just a few months ago, and I've been playing the gong for about 3 years now, and thought, I'm like, I know all the pieces and kind of areas of the gong, and he opened up a whole other side of like these other notes you can draw out, and they're just phenomenal. So you have the gongs, various sizes of gongs. You have little ones, you have big ones. I think the biggest one I've ever played is like a 42-inch, and I have a 32-inch, and it's different from my 24-inch, so lots of amazing things there. And then you have little chimes and like smaller instruments that help to just kind of overall bring you in and out of this experience.
I love the chimes.
Yeah, fan favorite, the ocean drum as well. Sounds
the ocean drum.
Is
amazing.
As a Pisces, I'm sure my fellow Pisces here, Jay, you know it.
I have one here actually.
Yeah, rain sticks are included sometimes. Oh gosh, I was in a sound bath once that had a didgeridoo. The guy came around and actually put it like near your body, and like the vibration of that is insanely amazing. You feel it so much. So yeah, lots of
I had that with my first breathwork experience.
Wow. Yeah, the didgeridoo.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get Paul to learn how to do it. And I'm like, come on, you can be my didgeridoo guy.
That takes a lot of air, you know.
I mean, the circular breathing thing.
I love how you make Paul do it.
Well, I'm playing the bowls. He can learn the bowls, and I can figure out the didgeridoo. So funny.
Yeah, so you take people on a beautiful journey, which really is that's what it's called, right? A sound journey.
Yeah. I like to think of it as a sound journey because it really is, you start with kind of learning about the sounds, familiarizing yourself with the sounds, even if you've done a sound bath before, but you're kind of introducing yourself to each of them, and then they take you on this like, I'm happy, I'm feeling great, uplifting, oh, this one's making me feel like, it's really this like, immersive journey. That's all I can say.
And you're right. It's the same with breathwork and other modalities too, right? You're going to feel all sorts of emotions. You're going to hit on some blocks, some places where you need to release and open up. And in fact, that brings me to another question. Do people feel emotion during sound baths?
Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, my own personal experience, I've had these incredibly happy moments of like seeing visions of my future. I've seen colors which are tied in with the various chakras and energy centers and bowls that correlate to that. So sometimes, you can feel all of this emotion kind of come over, and sometimes it comes out as a release where you're crying or you're laughing. I had somebody just a few weeks ago, she had the most profound experience, and I'm so glad she shared it with me, but her husband actually passed a few years ago, and she's in a place where she can talk about it. She said this, she's like, I've done my work, I've done my grieving, and I just am such a state of bliss now whenever he comes into my life and reminds me of the memories we've had. And she shared the entire time I was just on this like beautiful video reel of our life together. And she's like, I had all these sounds and they were all correlating to these beautiful moments on the beach and traveling, seeing the world together. And she said, just thank you so much for just giving me what I felt like was a 45-minute session of just being back with him together. And I was like, wow, I was sobbing like as she's just sharing this. So
isn't that beautiful? Because isn't that the truth of who we are? I mean, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and that's again why I wanted to share about different modalities that can reconnect us to the most important part, which she just did. She had that sensation that he's still here, which he is, right? We're all, I got goosebumps all over my body. Because it's like, that's what we need to remember. Yes. And that's why sound is so important, and any other modalities that can connect people and remind us that we're not the stress, we're not the fight or flight.
Exactly.
We're not all this stuff. We're actually meant to be pretty peaceful, pretty happy, pretty fulfilled.
And when we give ourselves that time to connect with the being, like with our being within, we can use that experience that we have in that 45-minute, 60-minute session of a sound bath. We can use that peace and calm then to have it within ourselves when life gets stressful, and we can say, hey, let me pause and take a moment. Let me go back to that moment in the sound bath. I can make a choice right now of how I want to proceed with this thing that's happening that's stressing me out.
I love that. It's always a choice, isn't it?
Always a choice.
It's easier said than done sometimes when those old paradigms and mindset crazy thoughts come in. But so I know we've done both virtual sound baths as well as in person. Is it just as powerful to do something online with you?
This is such a hard question for me because I mean, you can't deny when you're in person, you feel the vibrations of the sound in a different way. It is a close second, I would say. There's some things that have to be kind of set up. The facilitator needs to have a good microphone, need to have a good safe space, quiet space. The people that are on the other end receiving the sound always highly recommend for headphones, because then you're going to get some of that vibration sensation that'll come into your ears and your body. But yeah, I mean, nothing can replace an in-person sound
Well, I
bath.
think as healers and teachers, we love, the in-person is always more powerful, right?
Because
you're able
energy,
to.
yeah. And, you can feel that through a computer screen, but it's, it's a good right now as we have to kind of what we need to do. And for being able to connect with people all over the world at the same time, that's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
that is amazing.
Yeah, in person is still great.
In a moment, I'm going to ask you how people can find you, because I know that you're the busiest person I know in the world. Actually, you work 7 days a week.
I'm working on releasing that a little bit, so I have some more time.
It's impressive and it's amazing, and people have opportunities to work with you in corporate settings,
yes,
right?
Yes,
individual settings, groups, in person, online. There's so many.
Yeah.
And then you're doing a recent or an upcoming teacher training as well to teach people how to share sound.
Yes.
So you have lots going on.
Yes.
But before we share where to find you, I want to ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
This is the way I like to kind of bring the podcast to a close.
I love this.
So, you ready for this?
I'm ready, Jay.
Okay. Tough question. What brings you the most joy in your life?
I would have to say it is the connection that I have with people, the connection with friends, with family, with my dear love, Polly, my little Sahara, my fur baby. Just that I'm so just always amazed by the connection that we can have with people and then with ourselves. So that brings me so much joy to see.
That's beautiful. And I want to ask you, what do you love most about yourself?
I have been working, Jay, you've been on this healing journey myself, I think, for really the core of it in the last few years, and it's about my intuition. The more that I lean into my intuition, the more I'm trusting myself to be guided on what I need to do, the happier and more aligned to the best version of myself that I am. So I'm very much on a healing journey with my intuition.
Love that. And what's your definition of healing?
I believe healing to be finding and cultivating the deepest, truest connection to you. So whatever that is, the space within, I think some people feel that it's maybe in their heart space or other places. It's truly just finding that connection to you. That is healing.
Nice. Well, Bella, will you share with the listeners where they can find you?
Yes.
You have an amazing IG. You have beautiful imagery. I mean, you guys got to check this out. Where can they find you?
Thank you so much, Jay. Best way to find me on Instagram, Align with Bella, ALIGN with Bella. Aligning you to your truest self, so I help be your guide to do that. My website, of course, alignwithbella.com, and you can find more information on any of the trainings. Jay, when we get our retreat going next year, information will be up there too. So have classes around the LA area, retreats, do some online stuff as well, so we'd love to connect with any of you. And before I go, I have to play my bowl for you, right?
Yes. Let's hear a little bit of sound.
Yes.
It's a great way to end it.
So I have, let me move this front over. With me today, I have our C note bowl. So this is, like I mentioned, the C that is connected to the root chakra, all around that grounding sense of security foundation. And in a sound journey, I like to start with this bowl because it really helps for the people to kind of ground into the space and find this safe space within, and then move up the chakras and move up the energy centers. So, if you want to kind of close your eyes and get comfortable.
already taken away.
It's amazing. We just
I almost forgot that we were
moments.
on a podcast. No, really, that was amazing. I love the root. I do like the sounds of the lower chakras too.
Yeah, same.
So fun to chat with you.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Jay, for this space. And I am so honored to be here, to be able to share this and to learn more about healing as you continue on this journey with your podcast as well. So thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks
my friend. We
me.
will see you very soon.
Yay.
And thanks for listening, everybody. Please stay tuned for next week's episode. I'm with Adrian Lozano, and he is going to talk about the healing power of plant medicine, which is going to be fascinating. And make sure to listen. And we have a lot more exciting healers and teachers and wonderful people coming up.
Yes. Beautiful. Yay.
Bye.